Hi everyone, so today I'm doing a brand focus video. I used to always do these and I'm going to start them up again, so if there are any brands you'd like to see, just let me know. So I'm testing collection makeup today and I'm showing you how to go from this to this sort of maybe glam kind of look, incorporating some colour. So let's get started. So to kick things off today, I'm starting with the brows and I'm using the Collection Eyebrow Kit in the shade Brunette. You get 3 brow powders and a clear brow gel for around $5.50, so really affordable. I'm beginning with the light warm brown shade and I'm using my angled brush to sweep this brow powder throughout my brows. I'm not really a fan of warmth in my brows, but this was the lightest shade that they had in the kit, so I started with that, and it doesn't look too bad. It's just not my personal preference. So once I've coated the brow hairs with a light dusting of this shade, I'm going in with the second brown in the palette and I'm deepening up the brows and toning down that warmth. And this colour is quite dark, so I'm just using long feathery strokes to make sure I don't over apply the powder. To clean up the shape of my brows, I'm taking the Lasting Perfection Concealer in the shade 1 Fair. This is one of their cult products, and if you haven't tried it, you need to. So I've added a small amount of the concealer under the brows, and I'm using a small brush now, running along the edge of the brow to sharpen up the shape and therefore define the brow. And then once I'm happy with the shape, I'm blending out the concealer down towards the lid. The company don't stock an eyeshadow base as far as I'm aware, so I'll be using my foundation and concealer as one. Moving on to the face, I'm taking the Primed and Ready Face Primer. This is a mattifying, pore minimizing primer. It's got that nice silicone feel to it and it just makes the skin feel nice and smooth. It's powered by witch hazel too, so has some skincare properties in it, and if you're someone that breaks out like myself, it aids in keeping blemishes away. Well, apparently anyway. I spotted this next product and I just really wanted to try it out of curiosity, and that's why I'm adding it to bare skin. It's the Gorgeous Glow Liquid Highlighter Drops, and I'm just dabbing some of the highlighter from the pipette onto the top of my cheek. So it's like white with iridescent blue running throughout it, and I'm tapping the product in and out with my finger. You could use a sponge either, but I like to use my hands. And as you can see, the glow is absolutely unreal. I think it'd be really funky for a festival or something along the lines. Foundation wise now, I'm taking the Lasting Perfection Ultimate Wear Foundation. It's one of the new lighter shades. I think it's actually the lightest in the range. It's number 1 Cool Ivory. My skin is quite red at the moment just because I'm warm, and it makes the foundation look even more yellow in contrast. But I'm gradually just working this into the skin, patting the foundation as I go just to keep the coverage, and it pleasantly surprised me. So the coverage is quite good, medium I would say. It's covering up any discoloration I have quite easily, blemishes as well. It dries quite quickly though, that's the only thing. I like to take my time with my foundation and build it up in light layers on the face and in sections, but I had to work quite quickly with this because it was starting to set as I was blending. I'm going back in now with the Lasting Perfection Concealer. I'm sweeping it under the eyes, onto the forehead, and then applying some onto the chin. And I'm going back in with my foundation brush now, and I'm bouncing over the concealer just to blend it into the skin. Now that I'm finished with liquid products, I'm going to set everything in place with one of their face powders. This is the translucent shade and it worked quite well at setting the makeup in place, and my base products did last really well throughout the day. My gripe with this powder is the smell. It just smells extremely artificial and really unpleasant. To sculpt the face now, I'm using the contour kit. We have a highlighter on one side and a contour shade on the other. There is another kit with a blush included too, but it was sold out anytime I tried to pick it up. I'm using a small dome-shaped brush to apply the contour into the hollows of my cheeks. Now, for a slightly deeper skin tone, this would be better, I think. Or if I had been wearing a bit of tan, it would have worked a bit more for me. It's quite warm, so I decided then to whack it all over my face instead, just to warm up my complexion as opposed to just having a warm stripe down the side of my face. So I'm adding it around the forehead and down under the jaw as well. If I feel I've overdone it, I go back in with my face powder and blend around the edges to help everything fade together a bit more seamlessly. Now, like I said, I couldn't get a blush, so I just used one of my own to add a flush of colour to the cheeks, and that's what I'm doing now. Highlighter wise then, I'm just going back to that palette and popping some along the tops of the cheeks, sweeping it around the brow in a C shape, and I always do the sides of my nose and then just above my lip. I really like the highlighter, it gives a gorgeous glow. But as for the kit in general, I think I kind of prefer my sleek contour kit, like from the drugstore if you're looking for a drugstore pick. So now I'm just tapping over the eye area to make sure there's no excess concealer or foundation hanging around, and then I'm adding a light layer of powder. Eyeshadow palette wise from Collection, they don't really have a lot to offer. There are nude palettes, but I found it hard to find ones that people hadn't swatched. And I was looking for a palette with some mattes in it. Again, couldn't really find what I was looking for, so that's why I'm using the contour shade now on my fluffy blending brush, and I'm taking this across into the crease as my transition shade. Completely improvising here now, but I'm using that dark brown from the Eyebrow kit, and I'm lightly dusting um, this across the crease and on the lid to deepen up the look. The palette that I do have is entirely shimmery, and I prefer to keep the shimmers to the lid for the most part anyway. Now I'm just going back in and applying that contour shade again just to make sure the two browns fade nicely into one another. Moving back to that concealer now, I want a nice light bright base for the shadows that I'm about to apply, so I'm just using the concealer as a base for the lid, not cutting the crease or anything like that. I'm literally just applying the concealer to the lid area and then using my brush to tap out any of the excess product and to blend it into the skin. Next then, I'm taking the Collection Glam Crystals eyeshadow palette, and this is an array of colourful shades in it. I'm taking the second one in now, the light pinky purple shadow. I've sprayed my brush with some water, and now I'm patting this shadow halfway across the eyelid. It's not the most pigmented eyeshadow I've ever come across, but adding a few layers of it did the trick. Then I'm taking the darker purple and I'm doing the same again, so spraying my brush with some water and adding the shadow to the remaining half of my eyelid, and this shadow actually performed much better. Then I'm taking the lightest shade in the palette on a small bullet shaped brush, and I'm using this as my highlight for around the tear duct of my eye, and it just helps to open the eyes up and gives a nice sparkle to that area. My all-time favourite product from Collection is the Glam Crystals eyeliner. These are great if you want to add some glitz and glam but don't want the mess or fuss of a loose glitter, so I'm just adding this across the lids for some added sparkle. For underneath the lash line now, I'm going in with the contour shade firstly, and I'm smoking this down along there. Then I'm taking the brow powder and doing the exact same thing again, just sweeping it down along the lower lash line. Now moving on to eyeliner. So this is the fast stroke eyeliner, and I have to say I really struggled with this. The applicator is a small brush that's quite dense, quite stiff, and I found it very hard to work with. I found it didn't apply the product very well. If it was longer or less dense, in my opinion, for me anyway, it would have worked a lot better. Formula wise as well, I'm not keen on it. I had to keep going over and over and over until I was able to get it to a level of black that I liked. It took quite a bit of time, and my Essence one is around the same price, so it's a no for me. Next then for my waterline, I'm using a black Kohl pencil. These aren't the softest, so I'd suggest warming the product up on the back of your hand first and then adding it to the waterline, and it'll just be less harsh. Collection don't stock lashes, so I've used one from another brand, and now I'm using the Extreme Mascara to blend my own lashes in with the false ones. And I've used this a good few times without lashes on, and it's actually quite good. It's not a bad mascara at all for the price. It adds length and some definition. It's a nice mascara. Finally then, I'm finishing off with the lips, and this is just a nice nudie kind of brown shade. Formula is very comfortable to wear, pigmentation is there. I was really happy with this, and the lipsticks are as cheap as chips like the rest of the range. But then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and found it helpful, and I'll catch you all soon.